Okay, now I want to go over the second quiz. Alright, so in number 1, if any equation, if they say f of x or g of x, whatever, equals one function equals another function plus a number, remember, if you add something, if you add a number at the very end like that, it's always going to move it up or down. Okay, so in this case, k is a vertical translation. Alright, number 2 says on a graph, the equation f of x equals g of x minus 5 would mean what? Okay, so we have to read this in English. Alright, because if you look at all the answers, they're in English, not Mathlish. Okay, so what this says in English is that f of x is g of x moved down 5. So f of x, to get to f, you start from g and go down 5. So what that means is that f should be lower than g. Okay? Number 3. So now we're looking at which equation has g of x being f of x plus 2. So that means everything in the g of x should be 2 more than the f of x. Okay, so it's not that one. 4 to 10, that's 6 more. This one, 4 to 2, that's 2 less. Not that. This one goes 4 to 6, that adds 2. 1 to 3 adds 2. Negative 2 to 0 adds 2. They all add 2. So this one should be C. Number 3 should be C. Alright, 4. So now we're going to actually start. Now our answers are actually in Mathlish. Okay, so now we want to put Mathlish into Mathlish. Okay, so they give us f equals g of x plus 10, and then they tell us g of x is that. Okay, so what we need to do here is we need to plug that in for g of x. So it's going to say f of x equals g of x, which is 3x minus 18. Remember, that's what we plugged in. And then plus 10 at the end. So notice we can't add the 10 to the 3x, so there's going to be a 3x in it. So it's not going to be A, it's not going to be B. Okay, but negative 18 plus 10 comes out to negative 8. Okay, so number 4 should be D. So when you get to number 5, you're kind of doing the same thing, but now we're plugging in F instead of G. We're plugging in this to F instead of this to G. Okay, so this one's going to look like this now. 5x plus 9 equals g of x minus 8. Keep in mind, our answers are all for g of x. So that means we need to get g of x by itself. So to do that, in this equation that we just wrote, we have to add 8 to both sides. So now g of x is going to be alone. So whatever we get on the left is going to be our answer. 5x plus 9 plus 8 should come out to 5x plus 17. In this case, it would be C. So number 5 should be C. Alright, 6. So now again, read this math, or translate Mathlish to English. F of x is g of x moved up 5. So to get to f, you go to g and go up 5 now. So f should be higher than g, 5 higher than g. So this one works because it moved up 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I believe this one works also. Yep. Because remember, f is g of x, but moved up 5. So to get to f, you got to start at g and move up 5. Not the other way around. So that one should have been D, I believe. Okay. Seven and 8 we're going to plug in again, but now they're exponential, but doesn't matter. So for number 7, we're taking g and plugging it in there. So this is going to come out to f of x equals 3 times 5 to the x power, that's g of x. And then we're going to add 5 after it. Okay, so that should be our answer. And that should be A. Okay. Then for number 8, we're going to take this f now and we're going to plug it in on the left side. So it's going to say 4 times 9 to the x equals g of x plus 8. And again, all of our answers are in g of x. So to get this equation, get g of x by itself using this equation, we have to now subtract 8 from both sides. So g of x should be 4 times 9 to the x minus 8, which in this case, 4 times 9 to the x plus 8 should be C. Alright, then 9 and 10 should both be false. Okay, 9 says f of x is g of x moved down 9, so that means f is going to be lower than g. Number 10, the y-intercept they're saying is 0, 3, so to test that, we need to plug in 0 for x. Remember, this is 0 and 3 is x, comma, y. So we need to see if we plug in, think about it like this. If we plug in 0, 3 should come out. If not, it's false. So if we try that, we have 3 times 2 to the 0 power minus 3. Okay, so now we have to think about order of operations. Parentheses, none of those. Exponents. So we got to do the exponent first. So right now what we're trying to kind of isolate is the 2 to the 0 power. Everything else we need to copy and paste. So it's going to be 3 times, now remember, anything to the 0 power is 1. Notice I copied and pasted the 3 and then the minus 3. So now we did the exponents, parentheses, exponents, no more exponents. Now we go to the m in PEMDAS, multiply. So here we have 3 times 1 at the beginning. That's going to come out to 3, and then we copy and paste the other 3, this over here, the minus 3. Now, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, none of that, add, none of that. The last, the s is subtract. 3 minus 3 should be 0. So in other words, when we plug in 0, we actually get 0 out. So our y-intercept is actually 0, 0 in this one. So that one should be false.